Welcome back to another episode of the Adventures of a Disney Dad podcast. Chip and I are back, and I am fresh off of a Walt Disney World trip. Just got back from the first Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, the first Jollywood Nights, and we're going to talk all about it. Chip, before we jump into everything, how's everything going? How's life treating you? I feel like the people want a Massillon Tigers football update. Are we going to have a second year as podcast high school football state champions?
I,
Or what?
I, I mean, we potentially could. We're right now. We have the regional finals this week, and then if we win, we'll go to semis and then state. So it's been pretty busy. I'm coaching my son's basketball team, so I've got that going on, and then my oldest daughter is playing basketball. So it's a crazy time in the Robinson household, but yeah, we're doing well. We've cruised so far through the region, so region final Friday, and we'll go from there.
All right, I love to hear it. And tell Kelly, Chip's wife, is Christmas obsessed.
Oh yeah.
I've never put up lights before Thanksgiving. And if you're listening or watching on YouTube, you can see I have a Christmas tree lit up behind me in my office. I got the lights on the house. It was 60 degrees outside this weekend, so when I got back from Disney, I put the Christmas lights up. We're in the spirit. You know, the Christmas parties, they get you feeling some kind of way, Chip.
100%. I haven't started that. She's got some of the stuff out, but I'm the inflatables and all the Disney stuff. It hasn't gone up yet, but
And we're going to get a little into the Christmas spirit for this episode. But there's one question that somebody asked me the other day that I want to ask you, Chip, because I want to get your feedback on this. And I just thought it was a really fun question. If there's one ride at Walt Disney World that you could go back and ride for the first time again, whether by yourself or with your family, what ride would you pick?
Ooh, that's a deep question.
It gets you in your feels, doesn't it?
That's a deep question. I probably lean towards either Big Thunder or People Mover. Those are my kids. Those are my kids' favorites. So they were upset. I'm not wearing my People Mover hat. It's at school because I was showing it off to a couple of my friends. So they were upset. Like, why aren't you wearing that? And I was like, it's at school, guys. So I'll bring it home.
Hey, you still got a good one on. For me, I thought a lot about this because it is a really deep question. And you go back to your own personal memories of vacationing at Disney, and then you go back to like when you started going with your family, and it like that question kind of hits, right?
Yeah.
And I started to think like it would probably be for me the first time I rode Slinky Dog Dash with my kids.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like the first time we went post COVID, because that was the first time we got to go with my kids. And I just remember like we had been through so much crap, right? Like like everybody had been through so much crap. My son was in the NICU at the beginning of COVID. Like it felt like such a monumental like vacation. And I took a picture of my daughter and I in the queue, like right ready to get on. And I was like, finally we're getting on this trip. And it was like, I just wanted to remember that moment, not even on the ride, but just being in line for the first time with her. You'll never be able to replicate that feeling again. And as much as I get that feeling from riding the People Mover every single time by myself, it just hits. And I just thought that was a fun question. So
you know what? Like honestly, the more I thought about it, the answer is fireworks. It's watching Happily Ever After.
But I'll give you that. That's cheating, but I'll give you that.
But that wasn't my initial thought. But I like the more you thought about it, like I remember the first time we watched Happily Ever After was with my dad holding one of my kids, and But I get with you. Yeah, man, getting all in the feels, getting a little sentimental on this day.
So if you're listening, let us know, and I'll probably post this on social media. Let us know what you would go back and redo if you could redo it for the first time. I think that's a really fun question. But let's jump into the Christmas parties, and I want to talk like this may be a little different tonight than I anticipated it going, because I'm a Christmas party guy. Okay, I love the Christmas party. I'm a huge fan of it. My family, we go to the Halloween party every year, but the Christmas party the last 2 years I've gone without them. I've gone by myself. And what shocked me the most, Chip, is how much I enjoy Jollywood Nights.
Yeah. So like for everybody, like I was texting with Matt over the last week, and I didn't ask for much detail because I knew I was going to come into this, but it was all right. What are your thoughts? Because you hadn't been to Jollywood Nights. What are your thoughts? And you were like, "Oh man, it was awesome." So
And you know,
I'm,
last year the reviews were it was terrible.
and that's what I was going to say. The reviews were terrible, so I'm guessing they've improved or they figured it out what they needed to do right. Because you were at
Well,
the first one.
and not only that, but like so going into it, my expectations were so low because not only was Jollywood Nights last year just pretty much everybody agreed it was really bad. There wasn't enough to do for all the people that were there, and so there were lines for everything: food, drinks, entertainment, rides, characters. The whole thing had lines everywhere, and I think that was the general consensus. So that's not me saying that I didn't go last year, particularly like because people said it wasn't worth it, and I just didn't want to bother with it. And but on top of that, we had a really bad experience
Yeah.
doing an after hours event at Hollywood Studios with our friends Lauren and your wife and Athena, and like the reason we thought it was so bad was because there wasn't enough to do, and it was only 50% capacity. Like
Yeah.
the lines were still long. There wasn't a whole lot going on. The characters were just kind of meh. And so I went into Jollywood Nights. I'm like, man, I have low expectations for this. And Chip, it really it knocked my socks off. Number one, they did well with the characters. The characters, for the most part, had pretty short lines. They were all like 10 to 20 minutes or so, some shorter, but they had good ones. They had
Yeah.
Max Dress's Power Line, which is one of my favorites. They had Santa Stitch. They had Baloo and King Louie from Tailspin. Who else did they have? The typical Mickey and Minnie, Santa
Was
Duffy.
I was gonna say Duffy was out, right?
Yep, Scrooge McDuck was one that I don't
Ooh.
typically see. They had Lotso and Bo Peep, who I had never seen before.
Wow.
Lotso, I think, was one that like my kids would love to see. Lotso. The
Yeah.
one that I was really excited about was the Mandalorian and Grogu. And
Nice.
normally, if you listen to the show or you've been to Disney or you're a Star Wars fan, any of those things, when you go into Galaxy's Edge during the day, there are no character meets in the sense of being able to wait in line and get a picture with them. Sometimes Chewbacca's back there, like on this trip, he was back next to the Millennium Falcon, but there's no photo pass photographer. It's not like there's a sign. There's just people queuing up, and he's there. So there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. But like when Kylo Ren or the First Order troopers or Rey, the Mandalorian, and Grogu, whenever they're out walking around for V. Mirandy, you're not guaranteed to get a picture with them. And in fact, like a lot of the times, the Mandalorian is an a hole.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he is
Yes.
in character and he will not take a picture with you. Like I've seen him like push people away when they've started to touch him. Like when he doesn't, he basically needs to call you up to take a photo. He lets you stand next to him, and that's it.
And he talks to you. He'll talk to you. But
Yeah, and he does a lot of interaction for sure.
yeah.
But
And
he's not a photo guy.
yeah.
So I thought that it was really cool that they had an actual character meet where you got to go up and get in line and get your picture with the Mandalorian and Grogu. That's not something that you've seen at any other event. And honestly, like the only disappointing part of the character aspect of this event was that there weren't more characters in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
And there weren't more Star Wars characters, right? Like they have BB-8 there, they have Darth Vader, they have Kylo Ren, they have Rey. Like there's more opportunity there to make more of Galaxy's Edge. And I was also a little bit surprised that when you look at the guide map when you arrive, right, and it's available on our site at adventuresofdisneydad.com if you want to take a look. They've got the characters listed, and it says friends from Toy Story. You don't know who it's going to be until you get there.
Huh.
And when you get there, you know, they make it seem like there's more than one plural. There's not. It's either Lotso or Bo Peep. Is there a possibility that in the future, like they've given themselves flexibility at future party nights to have different characters? Absolutely. But my guess is that this is going to stay consistent. But
Where
I was really surprised. There's no Woody, no Jesse, no Buzz.
where were they at? Where they meet at?
Right by the bathrooms.
Okay.
So right across from Alien Swirling Saucers. So
Yeah.
not even in the normal spot where you meet Woody and Jesse. And the spot where you meet Buzz was Donald and Daisy, Goofy, and Pluto as
Okay.
two separate character meets. So
Okay.
it was great. I thought that the speaking of characters, the Pixar Place dance party for kids
Yeah.
was fantastic, and that included Sadness, which
Oh
was
yeah, I
really
saw
cool
that.
because you don't
Yeah.
see normally see her. Mike Wazowski, Frozone, and then Edna Mode was back there. There's just some of the characters that you don't normally see, and they're dancing, and there's a DJ, and they're doing things that you wouldn't necessarily normally, see them do, which was a lot of fun. And I think it made for like a lot of viral social moments. So I think from a character perspective, it was really impressive to me.
Yeah.
There are two tips that I would give people. Number one is like try to do characters with longer lines. Like the surprising longest line was Phineas and Ferb. I don't understand the obsession with Phineas and Ferb, but they had the longest line for sure.
It's probably they're more unique than probably Sadness. Like I don't think I've ever seen Phineas and Ferb. I know they used to be out in front of Magic Kingdom, but they're not anymore.
Yeah, they're definitely on the rarer side of a character meets. So I get that, but like at the same time, I've never watched that show. So
But
like
yeah, it's
like
it's kind
and
of
my
it's kind
kids
of
haven't either, so it's just not for me.
it's kind of the younger generation from us. So uh,
Yeah,
I've
we're
seen a
too
couple
old.
of them. I know we are too old, but Bears watched it a couple times. But yeah, it's kind of that whatever. I don't know what gen we are, but the one below us.
Yeah, and so like it was surprising to see that as the longest line. But the other big thing is when you see the list and there are multiple characters listed, you're not going to get both, and you don't know when you're going to get which one. So I had a moment where I went up to meet Pinocchio, right? Because my kids were actually watching Pinocchio while I was at the party. So I thought it'd be fun to go
That's
up and take a
awesome.
selfie with Pinocchio. I was the last person that got cut off before they switched to Jiminy Cricket.
Oh,
And you don't know, like you can ask the people that are there, like when Lotso is coming out, if you see that Bo Peep's there, but it's hard to plan your night around these specific characters because you don't know which one of those is going to be out there.
yeah,
So I would keep that in mind. Like Jose and Panchito, you don't get both of them. It's one or the other. So I think
nice.
to me that was interesting. And like Clarice and Scrooge McDuck, nobody wants to meet Clarice, right?
No, no,
Like so, you don't know when you're going to get Scrooge McDuck. There's no time listed. There's no way to see on the app. You have to basically walk over there and find out. And then there's also like some hit quote hidden characters that are not listed. Like Doctor Strange was walking around, which was cool to see. So I think there's more opportunity for that. But I think overall at this party they did that really really well. The ride wait times, aside from Slinky Dog Dash, were all pretty low. Slinky Dog Dash was like 30 to 50 minutes the majority of the night.
Wasn't it
Um,
down?
yeah, it was down for a while. And I wasn't trying to ride it, so it didn't make a huge difference to me. But you know, it, it it is what it is.
Yeah.
The merch I thought was pretty good. I ended up buying like a T-shirt. I wanted to buy more, but they only have merch in one store in the Muppet Courtyard. So you have to
Okay.
walk back there and get in line there, and it's well done, and you can get in and out before the party starts. So like if you go in at 4 o'clock, you can get into the merch shop before the party actually starts at 7:30,
Is it
which I
is
thought
it
was
is
nice.
it in the building that's not really a nothing else? Like it's that right between Pizza Rizzo and then the Muppet Show Muppet
Yep, it's
3D.
the building that's never used.
Yeah.
That in the back, it's got like paint splatters on it.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
great idea though. If you're gonna do it, might as well do it there.
and that's also where they put like the slow mo photo experience, the photo op, which a lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
did,
Yeah.
which was really cool. But it had a decent line too. Like I'm sure that'll probably soften up, but those photo experiences I think are going to be pretty popular. It could have been more that I was there when a lot of the influencers and YouTubers were there, so they wanted to do those things. But it was a pretty cool slow mo photo experience that I didn't do because the line was too long, but I've seen people do it.
Did you
It was pretty
did
nice.
did you do any of the like the Tip Top Lounge or that experience, that kind of stuff?
So I walked into the Tip Top Club after we rode Tower of Terror, and it's like it's cool, and but it's not anything special.
Okay.
It's just an area where you come out of the store at Tower of Terror, right there, that like little plaza area where the coffee cart is. They've got like a place where you can get drinks there and a band and
Okay.
people dancing and stuff. So that's the quote Tip Top Club. I really thought that they did a lot of like new banners and things like that for the Tower of Terror, like to make it look like it was jazzed up, which was nice. But it
Nice.
wasn't something that like I wasn't there drinking alcohol. I think, if you're into that and you're there as adults and you want to go and get a drink, it's a great spot to do that, and hang out and listen to the music. But Tower of Terror was a walk on. So like we rode that. I thought that was a lot of fun. And then we definitely checked it out. But it's not anything that I think you plan your night around. And I kind of felt that way about the majority of the stuff. Like the new skate show Glisten, it was cool, but I'm not like planning my night around making sure I have an opportunity to watch it.
Where was that at?
Right in front of the Chinese theater, they set up a
Oh,
big
okay.
skating rink there, and so you could stay there and watch that, and you could watch like the fireworks projection show, all in that same spot,
Yeah.
and it was cool, but like it's one of those things where you're not it's not like the parade at the Christmas party or the Halloween party at Magic Kingdom where you're planning your night around making sure that you get to see one of those things. To me, it's like if you find an opportunity and you want to check it out, do it, but it's not something you have to plan your night around. The one thing I will tell people you should plan your night around is the What's This show. It was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. It was
Is that
fantastic.
where's that at? Is that on
It's
the?
in the Frozen sing along.
Okay, yeah,
It's an
yeah.
exact, and it's the same kind of show. So it is a sing along. You're watching parts of the movie, but I don't want to. And like, there's spoilers here, so fast forward 30 seconds if you don't want to see it. But there's like parts where Jack comes out, right? And there's
Oh,
parts where Oogie Boogie comes out, and Oogie Boogie comes out and sings a song like in costume, like it's Oogie Boogie.
yeah,
And so that's like a live portion that you don't get from like the Frozen show in that sense.
yeah,
And it's really well done because you don't see Oogie Boogie outside of the Halloween party
yeah,
parade and shows there. So I thought that was really cool. I was really impressed with that. I thought like my kids would have a blast going to that show.
yeah.
And I think that that's something that's like a must do. The snacks and the food was kind of disappointing. I smashed some tachos because
That's you.
that's what we do on this show. Like
Yeah,
we eat tachos at Woody's Lunchbox, but the stuff that we tried, like I mean, there was nothing that really comes to mind that is there to write home about. They have the droid and lightsaber opportunities, like to build those is open, which I think is a great experience. Like
yeah,
these are all things that when we went during after hours, none of that stuff was available. So
yeah.
there's a lot of cool stuff to do. And I'm sure you guys have seen, and I'm sure our listeners have seen, the next like month or so at Disney is going to be nuts.
No, absolutely nuts.
Premier Pass is selling out. It's going to be crowded. And like if you don't get an opportunity to do Savi's workshop to build the lightsaber, like do it at the party. It's a fun experience. It doesn't take that long, and it's
It's
not
like
going to take
20
up a huge part
minutes.
of your night. Yeah. So overall, like Jollywood Nights to me is an A plus. It's not. I've had a lot of guests that have asked me about it lately. The way that I would make the decision is if you have a family that's going, if your kids are into characters and they want to do some rides, this is a perfect event for them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. That was my question is like, is there an age you think, or is it just character based?
To me, it's just more if they're into characters and you want the opportunity to ride rides with shorter lines.
Yeah.
This is it because, we also did the show with Kermit and Miss
Oh yeah.
Piggy, and that was cool. But it's also not something that like I'm like you have to do that. Like it's a
Yeah.
must.
Did
So
you
to me, the entertainment was just kind of like, if you've got kids, I wouldn't base your decision based on that.
did you walk into Brown Derby at all? Were they doing that again this year?
They were doing it. I did not do it, but the like all the reviews were great.
Okay.
But it does take a while. Was kind of the
Yeah.
feedback that I
And that
saw.
was the big thing last year. Is it took a little while, like because what is it? You drink. They have unique drinks in there and like a
And they bring out
jazz.
lots of entrees, so
Yeah.
like you're there for like a multiple course opportunity, like smaller plates kind of thing. And that I think that's the other thing. Like if you're going with adults, like a date night, or even just going with a group of adult friends, going and being able to have a drink and eat and kind of leisurely go through maybe one or two characters, one or two shows, one or two rides. It's perfect. That's basically what I did, right?
Yeah.
I did a couple rides. We did Smuggler's Run, Rise, Tower of Terror. I did almost all the characters, and I also got to see most of almost all the shows and entertainment.
Nice.
So there wasn't anything that I felt like I missed. Now I was moving a lot faster than a typical party would, I think, because I was trying to get content and all that stuff for the site. But overall, to me, I was really, really impressed by it. It's still not something that I would pick over Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, though, which we'll talk about next.
That's exactly what I was going to lead to. So you did both opening night. Obviously, they're both. I think we're both sold out, or at least close to it. What were your initial thoughts on Mickey's Not So, or not so scary? Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
So it was awesome, as I expected. The Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, I think it reaffirmed a lot of what we know historically, right? During the day of the party, the lines were incredibly short. I mean, like very, very, very short. The park was completely empty, and that was great. From the get-go, Jack and Sally, the line was like 2 hours long.
That's crazy.
Like it's pretty much consistent year to year. The most impressive thing that stuck out to me was the meet and greet with Santa for kids is phenomenal. They have crafts tables set up, and this is back by Storybrooke Circus.
Okay.
They have craft tables set up where while you're waiting in line, your kids can go and sit and write letters to Santa, which is
so cute.
I mean, I just think it's just a nice opportunity the way that they've done it. You can get some candy and stuff there too. The other characters that like blew me away that did not have really long lines were Anna and Elsa, which is this is the only opportunity to meet them at Magic Kingdom. And they're in their winter, outfits, not the same outfits that you see at Epcot. And then Belle at Enchanted Tales with Belle, she's in her Christmas gown and has a Christmas tree in the cottage. And I just think
is there a Christmas movie? Like, don't they have a Christmas episode or something? Yeah,
they do. They do have a Christmas movie, and it was. I just thought that meet and greet in particular, like those two, were really really well done, and they're unique. And to me, they're like they would be up there in priority. It's similarly to what I was mentioning about Jollywood Nights. If you see the character meets where it says these people, or there's kind of a group, you should expect that it's either or.
yeah.
So it was like Snow White or Aurora, not both at the same time. And the downside to that is like you don't know when they're going to be out there and when they're switching. So if you want to get one of them, you just don't know when you're going to be able to get that opportunity. And like at Magic Kingdom, it's really hard to sneak up on a character meet and get in a short line because it's so crowded, right? Like there's so many people walking by, and as soon as there's a short line, a flock of people go there.
Yep.
Right. And I think that was a bit surprising to me. The one that was the shocking one that had the longest wait, I don't think it was ever shorter than 2 hours, was the meet and greet at Pete's Silly Sideshow. And it was because of Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
It was Minnie Mouse, Daisy Duck, Donald Duck, and Scrooge McDuck.
That's
and
so great.
It was never shorter than like 2 hours long. I mean, I went back there multiple times to try and do it. Never could get it, and it surprised me because at Jollywood Nights, the line for Scrooge McDuck was like non-existent. So I didn't, and I attribute part of that like to be the meeting Minnie Mouse and things like that. But it was a weird experience in that sense. The merch at the Christmas party wasn't as good this year. I thought it was kind of weak,
Yeah,
and
you sent me a
then there was
couple
only
of
one
pictures.
area
I
to
didn't
buy
think it
it.
was great. Yeah.
Yeah, there was only one area to buy it. It was very simple. Um, I'm not in terms of tips for guests. The biggest thing that I've been telling people is the fireworks show is not like everything you need to see.
Okay.
I'm a happily ever after guy, and so like to me, the fireworks show is a good opportunity to get a bunch of other stuff done. So I went in to meet Jack and Sally. There was a 5 minute wait during the fireworks show. Then there was no wait at all to meet Mickey. So like, but those are things that we've known in the past, right? Like
Yeah.
those are that applied last year. I figured it would, so I did it again this year, and that was absolutely the case. So there's a good opportunity if you want to ride some rides, you want to get on Tron, you want to get on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Tiana's Bayou Adventure was a walk on.
Yeah, I saw that.
So
Yeah, that was nuts.
basically, in the span of the fireworks, we were able to meet Jack and Sally, Mickey, then get all the way over to Tiana's Bayou Adventure, walk on it, and then walk on to Big Thunder Mountain. All in the span of like the 25 minutes of the fireworks.
That's crazy.
So like there's a good opportunity to get stuff done. The Disney Junior Dance Party for kids, I think, is a huge opportunity. It's a lot of fun. They also had another dance party on the stage where Stitch normally is, where they had a DJ
Yeah.
playing.
Who
I
was?
thought that was great.
What were the characters at Disney Junior? Do you remember?
So it was Fancy Nancy, Timon, Vampirina, and Doc McStuffins. So the same ones you normally see at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, good.
And but they weren't all there at the same time. Like when I
Okay.
walked in, they weren't all doing the dance party at once. It was like Timon and Doc McStuffins, I think, at the time I walked in there.
Okay.
But it was pretty cool. And to me, the most important thing is seeing the parade.
Yeah, and
The parade is the best part.
and as much as everybody like people like us now, obviously the Christmas Day parade isn't filmed on Christmas Day. Spoiler alert: it was filmed last week because I saw pretty much the whole thing. But it's the same parade, correct? In terms of characters, they might add a different one here or there, but it's pretty much the same.
It's the exact
parade.
same. The Christmas Day parade is the exact same parade that they do at night. And in fact, the one when they filmed it, because I was there during the filming, they filmed it on the Saturday and Sunday, and you got to see it. But it was that and Christmas Day are the only times at Magic Kingdom you can see that parade during the day.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's normally like we call it paywalled, right? Like you have to buy a ticket to the Christmas party to be able to see that parade. So and it's worth it. Like that parade, Santa is in it sometimes, Mrs. Claus is in it, not always. But you get the full array of Disney characters, and to me, it's a step below the Boo to You parade just because the Boo to You parade is so special.
Yeah.
But it's better than any other parade at Magic Kingdom for sure. And I think that it's more important for you to see that than it is for you to see certainly the fireworks. The other shows that are on like the stage shows, like to me, you could hit or miss those. Like they're not. It's not like the Sanderson sisters at the Halloween party where you're like you have to watch that show because that show is awesome. It's okay.
Is it Elsa lighting the castle? They still do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's like
one
that,
of them.
My brother saw that last year, and he saw it right before they kicked him out for the party, and he said that was the perfect for his daughter. His daughter loves seeing that. So that would be the one I would suggest going to is go see Elsa light the castle. Just because my daughters would love it. I think Bear would even like it. He's like, that's be pretty cool. But I kind of agree with you though.
Yeah, they do like the Most Merriest Celebration and the Frozen Holiday Surprise are the names of the two shows that they do. and they only do the Frozen Holiday Surprise once at 8:15,
Yep.
and then they do the Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration 4 different times. So there's ample times to like catch those shows, but like the easiest thing to do is to get your spot for the parade somewhere close to the castle, because the first parade's at 8:30. If you're going to do the first parade, which is going to be more crowded, but the Frozen Holiday Surprise is at 8:15, so it's right before the parade starts. So you can kind of knock out two things in the same spot. But I'm a big fan of doing the parade at 11 p.m. when it's less crowded, people are doing more rides, because then when it's really crowded and people are watching the first parade at 8:30 with all the like little tiny kids that have to leave and go to bed, you can get a lot more done throughout the parks. So I thought like all of that was great.
Did they have the Snope going?
They had the Snope going. I felt like it was less this year. But you know, the one thing I'll say too about this, and they had like the cookie stops with the hot chocolate and eggnog and all that stuff. And that stuff's free for anybody that, you know, has never been before. You know, the food offerings were like just meh to me. There was nothing that like caught my like. I'll give you the four examples that they have as like the highlights in the park map, right? The gingerbread milkshake, which I've heard is fantastic, but I'm not a gingerbread guy.
Yeah.
But I've heard that that is very, very good. But the next one is the Szechuan cauliflower, which is spicy breaded cauliflower tossed in Szechuan soy glaze. And I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. I apologize. Glass noodles, green onions, and crispy garlic. Not for me. It's basically fried cauliflower.
Yeah, it's like cauliflower wings. Yeah.
Yeah, not. I mean, that's just not for me. That's not to say they aren't great, but it like doesn't make me like I need to go get that. Right?
That doesn't also scream holiday to me.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. And then chocolate eggnog tart, I heard was really good. I heard the beignets were really good. My brother-in-law, I think, tried one of the eggnog tarts, if I remember correctly, and thought it was pretty good. But then the Cosmic Rays holiday turkey burger, which is a turkey burger topped with traditional stuffing, provolone, cranberry chutney, and a brioche bun. And I'm just like, man, yeah. I mean, if you like Thanksgiving food, that's right up Chip's alley. But for me, that's not like I'm like going, oh my gosh, I gotta go check that out. So overall, like to me, it wasn't like a food centric event. It was the same thing we were talking about with Jollywood Nights. Like, pick one or two of the shows or parades that you really want to hit. Pick a couple characters that you really want to hit and a couple rides that you really want to hit. And with how busy it's going to be, I think the rides are going to be an even bigger opportunity this year than they were in the past.
Yeah.
Riding Tron or riding Tron at night is always better. But riding Tron, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Tiana's Bayou Adventure, like if you knock all three of those out, that's a pretty darn successful night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like to me, like, and this is exactly what I did, and I think it would be the ideal night for the majority of my clients and the majority of people planning a vacation. You meet Anna and Elsa, you meet Jack and Sally, you meet Mickey, you watch the parade, whichever time you want to go. You knock out Tron, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and Tiana's Bayou Adventure. You get a snack or two, and you try and meet Santa. And I think that's like, you've hit a great night.
Sounds like a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a few other opportunities where like I popped into Belle and she had no wait, you know, things like that. And it's an awesome party. And we didn't even stay the whole time.
Get your steps in.
Yeah. You 100% get your steps in. That's for sure. That's for sure.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate you giving us an update. And last question, and we'll wrap it up, is if you're taking your family right now, which one?
Of the Halloween or Christmas or Jollywood or Mickey's Very Merry?
Jollywood or Mickey's Very Merry?
Mickey's Very Merry for my kids, for sure. Because, and I say that because like my kids at Hollywood Studios don't like, we're blessed. Don't get me wrong. We go frequently enough that they don't care about the rides at a party as much. I think that they would love the opportunity, like because my kids love Tower of Terror to just go on that over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like they would do it. They would literally spend the entire party time just going Tower of Terror over and over. But they're just not as into characters. And I think like the like Powerline Max hits for me, but wouldn't hit for my kids, right?
Yeah.
The Mandalorian would. But I just think that like unless you're there for drinks and entertainment and food or rides or characters, like it's not as big of a thing. But I think that at the Mickey's Merry Christmas Party for kids, there's just a lot more entertainment opportunities that'll hit for them. Like the parade will be a hit.
Yeah.
Whether or not you think the same about the fireworks and the show, the parade will be a hit, 100%. So, and Jack and Sally is a different draw. My kids would love to meet Jack and Sally.
So yeah, mine don't care. So yeah, it's interesting. So,
Yeah, it's
no.
it's the same. It's the same kind of point. Now, I would have a much harder time deciding between going to a Halloween party with my kids and going to a Christmas party with my kids.
See, I wouldn't have a hard problem. My wife would say, "All right, this is where we're going. We're going to the Christmas party, and we're going to enjoy it." But that's also because my tree's been up for, I don't know, almost a month now.
That's going to wrap it up for this week on the podcast. We're really looking forward to getting back in a groove now that we're back from the Christmas parties and doing life stuff and chips in the playoffs. Hopefully, we're going to be reporting a state title here soon. But you can definitely catch us on social media. If you have questions, we love answering listener questions. So make sure you hit the inbox or hit us in the comments, DMs, email, all the links to get a quote if you'd like to support the podcast and help me book your next, Walt Disney World, Disney Cruise Line, Universal Orlando vacation. Love to do all those things. It's free, completely free to you. Link to get a quote are in the show notes. And otherwise, we'll see you next week.
We'll see you when we see you.